Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. This is the second video in my Paranormal or Not series, so I hope you're ready for a lot of information. Before I start, I just want to say a lot of this information comes from biographies, some YouTube videos, like programs like Nova and things like that, things that I've known in the past already that were familiar to me, books, lots and lots and lots of reading and books, and this is all ongoing. So this is where I'm grabbing my information. Like I said in my first video, I introduced everything, so I'm not going to go over everything again. So I'm going to get right into it because it's a lot of information and I don't want to talk for too long again. Hopefully those of you who are new will stick around and see what this Paranormal or Not video is all about. And those of you who come back all the time to see my videos, welcome back, and I hope you enjoy, and I hope this opens your mind like it opened mine. And if I just get one person to do any research on any of this, to know that we are being lied to as a human race, all the powers that be, all the powers that rule around the world want to shut this down. They don't want us to know. They want to keep us in a box. They think that we are not intelligent, that we're just not ever going to be privy. We don't know what's going on. We don't realize what's going on, and that can't be farther from the truth. So if I'm just one person on YouTube that's adding to this, adding to, get this knowledge out there and get people to know what the hell is going on, what's really going on, and prove that, hey, this is not some fantasy thing that people are making up and is not true. It's based in our history, and it's right there for us to look for and have if we bother to do the research, because obviously they're not teaching it in schools. The rulers that be do not want us to know, and this is all the stuff that's been hidden from us for thousands of years. So, okay. This is really hard for me. It was really hard for me to decide to do these videos, so bear with me, bear with the information. And of course, as always, please like, comment, and subscribe if you see anything you like, and if you want to continue to see my videos, please think about becoming a part of the sub-hub. Alrighty, let's get started. Okay, so the alien influence. There is proof all over the planet that humanity in every way has been impacted and manipulated over the centuries. There are unbelievable structures built thousands of years ago with equipment better than what we have today. Baalbek, northeast of Beirut in Lebanon, 3 chunks of stone weighing 800 tons were moved a third of a mile and placed high up on a wall thousands of years before BC. And if you're wondering why I'm looking here, obviously I can't remember all this stuff in my head, so I'm reading a little bit. Peru, the Nazca lines. This is like that white crumbly substance that's been around for I don't even know how long. It never seems to go away. It's just always there. And this white substance are depictions of animals, fish, insects, and birds that can only be seen entirely from the air. Pyramid of Giza, built with such precision, there is nothing to match it today. And all you have to do is Google Pyramid of Giza, and bammo whammo, you are going to see all the stuff associated with that pyramid, and how we can't figure out today exactly how it was made, and we don't have anything that in comparison to make that pyramid. We would have a really hard time recreating everything, and it still wouldn't be exact as that. It's ridiculous. Okay, so any race doing these things among a primitive civilization would be seen as gods. There are numerous legends all over the world that speak of a time, a golden age, which was eradicated by the fall of man, hence the Adam and Eve story. And I don't know if I spoke about it in my previous video, but the Adam and Eve story is a lie. It didn't happen. And when I say it's a lie, I don't mean it didn't happen. I mean it didn't happen in the ways depicted in the Bible. Sorry, it just didn't. Now, you're probably wondering, what is the proof? Like, Julie, why are you talking about this? There's no proof. And there is proof. There is proof of where we came from, how we came to be, and how we evolved to the human beings we are today. You have to remember, we were consciousness first. This is just a holder, and my belief is that God did not create this skin that I'm in. He created my consciousness. And thank God that these aliens aren't able to create that consciousness. That is up to God. And God is a loose term, because for me, he's one thing, for someone else, he's another. For me, he's just that being of love and light that exists and that has created us, our consciousness, because that's what we were before we came into these skins. Alright, so proof. Tablets were found, clay tablets, tens of thousands in 1850, 250 miles from Baghdad, Iraq, by Sir Austin Henry Layard. The source of the info is Sumerian, who lived in the area 4000 to 2000 BC. These are ignored by history and education. This info is entirely different from what we have been taught to believe. The translations are rough and not exact, but according to Zechariah Sitchin, the clay tablets were written by the Anunnaki, those who from heaven to earth came, who came from a planet called Nibiru and is connected to the Draco constellation. The Draco constellation is apparently where other reptilian beings come from. Even though there is much questionable information due to translation issues, there is credible information such as the depiction of the solar system and the planets in the correct position and have confirmed in the last 150 years as being correct. The tablets also describe the nature and color of Neptune and Uranus that have only been discovered in recent years. The most incredible information in the tablets is how humanity was created. And this is the part of the tablets that I think should be worked on. It should be in schools. We should know about it. And nothing is said unless you actually look up the information and are interested in history. Archaeology, basically. So archaeologists, how many archaeologists are there in the world that know about this? Anyway, Anunnaki came to Earth 450,000 years ago to mine gold in what's now called Africa. The main mining center was Zimbabwe. This gold was mined and shipped back to other home planets from their bases in the Middle East. Gold was mined by the Anunnaki and working class, but there was a rebellion, so the Anunnaki royal elite created a new race to do the work. And for me, I nicknamed them the Beckys. The Anunnaki had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, and a Becky here and Becky there. You're a Becky, everywhere a Becky, Anunnaki had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. I'm just kidding, y'all. Because a Becky is someone who is at your beck and call, and that's what the Anunnaki needed, and so they created what you see, what we are now, because what they created is actually the human beings that we are today. At least that's what I believe. Anunnaki DNA, along with native human DNA, was combined in a test tube to create an updated human capable of doing tasks the Anunnaki required. At this point, humans were not what we are today, so Lord only knows what, maybe we were little creatures walking around on two legs with absolutely zero comprehension of what the hell was going on. So they grabbed us and stuck us in a test tube, and voila, here we are. So today's scientists are silent about it and continue to say there is a missing link. That's what they're calling the missing link. And all that is known is that at some point the human form was massively overhauled 200,000 years ago. So again, they don't even want to touch it. The tablets name two people as creators of the slavery. So this is about our creators. And again, remember, keep in mind, God created our essence, the energy that's within these bodies, okay? Not this. So please don't, I mean, we're confusing that. I used to confuse that all the time until someone explained to me, we are spirit, we are essence, we are not this first. We are consciousness first before we come into these bodies, and these bodies were not created directly by God. Well, you know, maybe he did, but the Anunnaki were the ones who reformed it. They reformed it, and this is what we are today. And I'm sorry, I don't want to sound like, oh, I know the truth, but I'm just going by what these clay tablets are depicting, because obviously we're being lied to in every other direction. I would like to say that these tablets that were created over 450,000 years ago have more truth in them than anything that has been written today by the powers that be. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Okay, so the tablets name two people as creators of the slave race. They were the chief scientist Enki, Lord of the Earth, Ki, Earth, and Ninkarsag, Ninti, Lady Life. Because of her expertise in medicine, she was later referred to as Mami, M-A-M-M-I, from which comes Mama or Mother. She also became the mother goddess of numerous religions with names like Queen Semimaris, Isis, Barati, Diana, Mary, others which emerged from the legends of this all over the world. She is also depicted as a pregnant woman. So I know some of you must recognize some of these names because, hello, Mary. Mary's one that just shot right out at me. I've heard of Barati, I've heard of Isis. Enlil was a commander of the Anunnaki, and Enki was the half-brother to Enlil. So the tablets say Enki and Ninkarrsag had many failures in searching for the genetic mix. There are accounts of deformed humans and animal-human hybrids. They finally found the right mix, which was the first Homo sapien, which they called Lulu, one who has been mixed. Some say this is the biblical Adam. The female version was called Lu, root name, worker, or servant, and it was also used to imply domesticated animals. Lovely, lovely. You know, the girl has to be the domesticated animal, because why not? Anyway, this is what we have been ever since. Now, for those of you who want to stop right here, you're like, girl, you crazy, you don't know nothing. I would recommend watching The Fourth Kind with Mila Jovovich. I'm a fan of Mila. I really like her. I mean, who doesn't want to just look at her? She's so pretty. But this movie was based on a real story, so if you're interested, The Fourth Kind with Mila Jovovich, check it out. You can kind of skip me and all of this if you want to just go to the movie. Okay, so they have been ruling ever since, overtly and now covertly for thousands of years. So let's skip to the Bible for just a second. Okay, the mistranslation and the taking of symbolism literally has caused their creation of a fantasy story, and hence the Adam and Eve story. Genesis and Exodus were written by the Hebrew priestly class, the Levites, after, I don't know how to say that, Levites, after they were taken to Babylon from 586 BC. Babylon was in the former lands of Sumer, and so the Babylonians and the Levites knew the Sumerian stories and accounts. So they knew the real deal. They knew all of the history, and they were closer to it then than we are now. So they should have been more clear, and they should have had more information and probably understood the translation way, way better than we understand it now. So, the Sumer tablets speak of E.din, Eden, the abode of the righteous ones. This connects with the Sumerian name for their gods, Din-Gir, D-I-N-G-I-R, righteous ones of the rockets. That's what that means. So the Sumerians spoke of Eden, and Genesis speak of gods of Eden. This was the center for the gods, the Anunnaki, and it goes on and on. So who wrote the Old Testament? The Levites wrote. Who wrote the New Testament that created Christianity? People controlled by the same force which controlled the Levites, the Babylonian Brotherhood. And that's what they're called. Those people from Babylon that knew all of what the Anunnaki wrote about and created and all of their teachings and all of their stories, they later on became known as the Babylonian Brotherhood. And along with the Levites, they're the ones who had control over all of the writings that people out there were believing, like the Bible. The Old Testament, the New Testament, which later became known as the Bible. Okay, so alien conflict. The tablets describe how humans were given the ability to procreate by Enki, and this led to an explosion in the human population that threatened to swamp the Anunnaki. Supposedly there weren't many of them. Thank God. Okay, so the Anunnaki had many internal conflicts and high-tech wars with each other as the Enlil-Enki factors fought for control. So these two people that were supposedly related were fighting. Ever wonder why you have so many wars with brothers and sisters and fighting and killing each other? Sound familiar? Okay, so there are many legends and stories depicting the gods at war. Sumerian accounts describe how the sons of the Anunnaki gods were most involved in the wars. I don't think I need to say more because each of us have cultures that depict these types of wars. Okay, so the Anunnaki and serpent race intervention. This is where your own judgment has to step in. There is an extraterrestrial presence, whether you want to believe it or not, on the planet, and it does affect us, and it has been affecting us from 400,000 years ago when we didn't even know that we would end up being the way we are now. The only thing I can say that 100%, what is clear, 100%, is that the alien presence They want to dominate, they want to control, and they want to do it the easiest and fastest way possible. And the easiest way to do that is to infiltrate, make us think that everything's okay, and eventually take us over by feeding off of our greed, our jealousy, our hatred, and our anger, all those negative emotions. That's 100% all I know for sure. But anyway, let's continue. So, earthbound serpents in human culture. I know that the Anunnaki and serpent race intervention, I didn't elaborate too much on that, but that's all I meant, was that they are intervening, they are in our lives, whether we want to believe it or not. That's what I meant. Okay. So now, earthbound serpents in human culture. Okay, so these are examples of different cultures that have all reptilian gods and depictions in their history up until now, beginning from who knows when. So the Ubaid culture existed 5,000 to 4,000 years before Christ, and before even Sumer, in what is now Iraq. They have figurines of their gods clearly representing reptile-like, lizard-like humanoids. Central America, they had a winged serpent called Quetzalcoatl. That's what they call their winged serpent. In Hopi, the Hopi Indians, they have a plumed serpent god. In these words, Bahomingonga and Native Americans, serpent imagery, lots and lots of serpent imagery. East Indians, they have a reptilian gods called the Nagas, and that means those who do not walk but creep. The Egyptians had Neph. The Phoenicians had I can't pronounce it. It's Agathodemon. Okay. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Voodoo people had Dambala Wodu. Hebrews had Nakustan, the brazen serpent. In Britain there was Hu, which means dragon ruler. And you might want to wonder, because these reptilians take human form, if that's where human came from. I mean, you never know. So John Rhodes says that reptilians invade a planet from space and from the underground bases. The surface population quickly surrender to superior weaponry, and then the planet is entirely just overhauled and all life on the planet is completely stopped. Now, this is Hopi Indian legend, which I don't think it's a legend, but under Hopi Indian legend, there's an ancient tunnel complex under LA occupied by a lizard, which was occupied by a lizard race over 5,000 years ago. In 1933, G. Warren Schufelt, and he was a mining engineer, claimed to have found it, and you can look that up. Today, it is said to be used for satanic Freemasonic rituals. How lovely. And there's a lot of energy. As you know, energy is a huge factor in what these reptilians and what these other beings are doing. And that's why they're so ritualistic, and that's why they wait for like summer solstice, winter solstice, certain times of the moon phases, because the energy field around the world is at its most pliable. That's why they have to have all those rituals. That's why they do all those things at those specific times. And that's why during Halloween, so many rituals happen, more so than any other part of the year. Isn't that lovely to know? So lovely to know. Okay, so near the Grand Canyon, 1909, a subterranean city built with great pyramid precision was found by G.E. Kincaid. It was big enough for 50,000 people, and mummified bodies found on site were Asian or possibly Egyptian in origin. Numerous artifacts were found, including copper as hard as steel. Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C. has ensured it remained unknown to the public. Some knew due to two articles in 1909 in the Arizona Gazette, and that's why some people still remember it, and there's got to be some proof of it somewhere, but who knows where that is now. Okay, so you're probably wondering, are there any reptilian bases? The known reptilian bases that people have either you know, been nosy and they saw weird things happening or have seen saucers coming in and out, whatever the case may be, are in Arizona, Utah, Colorado, and New Mexico. So those are the main places. Lord knows if there are any more. Now, there are the fallen ones, which I believe a lot of them are the fallen angels that were pushed out of heaven during the time of that particular, between the war between the angels and heaven. And these are the interdimensional serpent beings of the lower fourth dimension. And why do I believe in this? Because I think I would go there all the time. Now, I'm not telling you that I saw serpents and all kind of craziness, but all I know is that from 6 years old to 12 years old, I would go to a place like a twilight place. And it wasn't dark and it wasn't light. And I think this was where, I don't know, I can't really tell you for sure if it was the lower fourth dimension, but it sure as hell felt like it. And from 6 to 12, I had the same recurring nightmare, the same exact dream. And I was in the same place. It was just dark, and I would get lifted and shaken hard, and I would not wake up. I would just start praying. It was just a horrible, horrible nightmare to feel yourself being lifted and shaken like a rattle. So I don't know. I definitely believe that there are entities. So the fallen ones, supposedly they operate from the lower fourth dimension, and like I said, in my opinion, these are the fallen angels. The one obviously cast out by God. The fourth dimension is closest to the physical world, or the lower astral dimension, as some people want to say it is, and it's home to demons and evil spirits. Research suggests non-physical reptilians were able to pour into this dimension through holes or portals in the time-space fabric caused by nuclear tests and explosions in the deserts of New Mexico in the 1940s. This is only one group of reptilians, but by far one of the worst. And like I said, we don't know. Supposedly there are ones that are for us or don't want to harm us, but these are the ones that are by far the worst. Okay, so the origins, some of their origins are from the Draco constellation and elsewhere, and they are usually called draconians. They love to consume blood and are the blood-sucking demons of legend. Most famous of them all is Dracula, and the Count symbolizes aristocratic reptile-human crossbreed. Okay, so my camera is overheating, so I'm not sure where we left off, so I'm going to try to pick up where we left off. So I'm going to go back just a little bit. Alrighty. Okay, so the origins of these fallen ones, the interdimensional serpent beings, Draco constellation and elsewhere, which are the draconians. They love to consume blood and are blood-sucking demons of legend. Most famous of them all is Dracula. The Count symbolizes aristocratic reptile-human crossbreed bloodlines which reptilians possess from the lower fourth dimension, and it's obviously a reference to Draco. Now, their physical expressions, because you're probably wondering, okay, so if they're infiltrating through this fourth dimension, what about the ones that are physically here? So their physical expressions are the ones, they usually live in underground bases with human and reptile crossbreed scientists and military leaders. They occasionally emerge to abduct, but the main control is outright possession. These hybrids carry the reptilian genetic code and therefore are far more easily possessed by the reptilians in the lower fourth dimension. And I can elaborate on that. I'll elaborate on more of this in later videos. I'm just giving you the bulk of the information now. Now, the human area in the brain known as the reptilian brain. In the brain, there is an area where all other parts are additions. This ancient area is driven by another prehistoric segment which, which neuroanatomists, I don't even know if I'm saying that right, neuroanatomists call the R complex. The R is short for reptilian because we share this with reptiles. The R complex plays an important role in aggressive behavior, territoriality, ritualism, and establishing of social hierarchies. And also, this is partly the reason why humans are born with tails. The pheromones in human, women, and iguanas are a chemical match, and they are most a chemical match when we have our periods. So during that time, we are most chemical-wise matched up to iguanas, which this, again, is all based in science. The reason why I have chosen to give you this information that I found and the way that I gave it to you is because I wanted you to be open to the fact that when they start talking about reptiles, when they start talking about those lower beings in the fourth dimension, you have to understand that it's not impossible. When the reptilians focus on a line, which are the ruling families of the world, they focused on those lines for a reason, because they have, first of all, the R complex, and they have Rh positive, Rh negative blood. The reason why some royalty is called blue blood is because when Rh negative babies or Rh positive babies are born, they're born blue. All of this matches up, all of this connects, and I'm going to slowly show you the connection and what made me say, like, whoa, wait a minute, is this really paranormal or not? That these are the facts, and the facts in science, based in science and based in culture and based in history, that made me think, is this really real? Is what they're talking about true? That's the driving force that made me want to do further research. If you want to stop here, stop here. You don't have to listen to me further on this topic. I will be making further videos, and I just wanted to put this information out there, and I wanted you to be aware that, yes, something is going on. We need to wake up. We need to be aware, not because we can do massive change, but just by knowing we're changing the energetic field of the earth. And the more people know, the more awake you become. I don't know, there's just a difference in everything for you, the way you see things, the way you feel about things, an understanding of why our lives are the way they are, where we came from, all of those things. And I just want to be a part of that. So yes, this is the end of my video. Hopefully I didn't traumatize anyone. And yeah, there will be further videos kind of diving deeper and diving into stories and diving into super dramatic stories and stories that you're really going to be questioning. Oh my God, is this paranormal? Is this paranormal or no? Make good. How should I say? I don't even know what to recommend at the end of this video on what choices you should make. Just, you know, make good choices in general for yourself. And until my next video, I will see you soon.